Hey everyone. So we're all pretty used to AI that can answer our questions, right? But how do you get an AI to actually achieve something complex all by itself? That's the real puzzle we're going to dig into today. How to give AI a genuine sense of purpose.
So let me ask you this. What's the real difference between just a smart tool and a true assistant? I mean, we've got all these amazing AI models that can spit out text or code, but what separates a simple reactive tool from an intelligent agent that can actually manage a whole project on its own?
Well, it really boils down to one thing, a clear sense of direction. It's that ability to have a defined goal and then actively, relentlessly work towards it. Without that, an AI is basically just spinning its wheels. But with it, that changes everything.
All right, so let's start by digging into the core problem here. What actually happens when an AI is incredibly powerful but has no clear objective?
It's kind of like having a supercar engine in a boat with no rudder. Sure, it's got a ton of power, but it can't actually steer or navigate. It's just reacting to whatever waves come its way, totally unable to plan a real journey or reach a specific port. And honestly, that's the big limitation holding back a lot of AI systems today.
So how do we give that ship a rudder? Well, it turns out there's a really elegant design pattern for this exact problem. It's a way to give AI that missing destination. And the whole process is, well, it's a lot like planning a trip. Think about it. You don't just magically appear in Tokyo. First, you decide, Tokyo is my destination. Then you figure out where you are now. And then you map out all the steps to get there. You book the flight, pack your bags, get to the airport. That is exactly the kind of thinking we need to build into our AI agents.
This whole approach actually has a name. It's called the goal setting and monitoring pattern. And the key thing to remember is that it has two parts. First, you give the AI a super clear, measurable objective. And second, this is crucial, you give it a way to constantly check its own progress and ask, hey, am I getting any closer to that goal?
What this creates is a really powerful feedback loop. You, the user, give a high-level command. The agent then breaks that down into a checklist of internal goals. It gets to work, checks its progress against that list, and then just repeats that cycle over and over until it produces an output that actually gets the job done. It's this constant cycle of doing and then self-reflecting. And listen, this isn't some far-off, futuristic theory. This pattern is already out in the wild, powering some of the coolest AI applications that we're using right now.
You see this all the time. Take a customer support bot. Its goal isn't just to chat with you, right? Its goal is to resolve your billing problem. And it measures its success by actually confirming that your bill is fixed. Or think about an AI project manager. Its goal is to hit a deadline, so it's constantly checking progress, monitoring tasks, and flagging any potential risks along the way.
And with a self-driving car, the main goal is crystal clear. Get from point A to point B, safely. And it does that by continuously monitoring its surroundings and its progress towards the destination.
Even in content moderation, an AI agent's goal is to find and remove harmful stuff from a platform, and it's always tracking its own accuracy to make sure it's not making mistakes. In every single one of these cases, it's a clear goal paired with that constant self-check.
So those are the big ideas, but what does this actually look like in practice? Let's pop the hood and look at a really cool example, an AI agent that literally programs itself. So imagine you give an AI a programming task, but you don't just say, hey, write some code. No, you give it a mission that comes with a strict quality checklist. Goals like the code must be simple, it must actually be correct, and it has to handle weird edge cases.
So the agent's process is super straightforward. First, it gets the mission. Second, it writes a first draft of the code. Third, and this is the magic step, it stops and reviews its own work against that checklist. And fourth, if the code doesn't pass the review, it goes right back to step 2. It just refines and repeats this loop until every single goal is checked off. And this is that relentless process of self-improvement in action. The user gives a prompt, the agent writes the code, and then it gets stuck into that critical loop. Is my code good enough yet? If the answer is no, it refines it and tries again. Only when the answer is finally true does it deliver the finished product.
I really love this quote from the source material because it just perfectly captures the monitoring part of this pattern. The AI isn't just guessing if it's done, it's making a simple, cold, hard judgment on its own success, true or false. And that's what lets it know when the job is actually finally done.
Okay, so as exciting as all this is, it's not magic. We need to do a quick reality check here and talk about some of the very real limitations of this whole approach. It's really important to be realistic here. For one, these large language models, the brains of the operation, they can still totally misunderstand a goal or just make stuff up. That's a real risk. Also, an AI judging its own work can have a bit of a bias problem. It might struggle to admit it made a mistake, and that could trap it in an infinite loop of failure. And finally, this doesn't replace people. You still have to actually run and test the code it spits out.
So after all that, what are the big ideas you should really walk away with?
Here's the big picture. The goal setting and monitoring pattern is what gives an AI a sense of purpose. It transforms it from just a reactive tool into a proactive agent that gets things done. And the foundation for all of it is a set of clear, measurable goals. That's what enables that critical feedback loop for self-correction. And ultimately, mastering this pattern, well, it's a huge step toward building the truly intelligent, autonomous systems we've all been dreaming about.
Which leaves us with one last, pretty big question to chew on. As we get better and better at building AI that can relentlessly achieve any goal we give it, how do we make absolutely sure we're giving it the right goals in the first place? That's a question we're all going to need to answer together. Thanks for joining me.